Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the latest edition of the Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar Podcast. I'm your host, Jacob Elyachar, the chief correspondent of jakestake.com, a pop culture entertainment news website. Now, if you're watching us on YouTube or listening to this in our audio, please give us a 5-star rating and subscribe if you're on audio. And if you're watching YouTube, a thumbs up and a subscribe for the YouTube channel. I'm very excited today because we have a Spotify verified artist who's based in Halifax, Nova Scotia. Here's a fabulous new album called Drugstore Dreamin'. Give it up for Willie Stratton.
Thank you very much.
Willie, how are you?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to talk with us today. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, anytime. I appreciate you having me on.
Awesome. So let's get started, shall we? So when did you get interested in music, and how did that passion evolve into desire to pursue a career in the recording industry?
I grew up always kind of interested in music, with a lot of music around. And like my parents didn't play music, but they always had music playing. And I just kind of, I don't know, at some point, I think when I was like 12, I just got really obsessed with the idea of playing guitar, and I got my guitar, and just kind of that excitement seemed to never have really fully gone away. So it's kind of been the driving force, I guess.
Believe me, I wish I could learn how to play an instrument. My brother, Aaron, who is 11 months apart from me, he self-taught himself guitar and piano, and not to mention trombone and tuba.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I sang for 7 years in choir, so from 5th grade to 12th grade. That's basically my musical background. So I really appreciate that you learned how to self-taught the guitar.
Yeah, it's sometimes things just click, you know?
Absolutely. So who are some of your biggest musical influences, and how do they enhance your sound or inspire your sound?
I've got a lot of different influences, and they vary a lot, but I've always been interested in like older music. Like when I started, I was kind of interested in folk music, and I started playing, like sort of, I guess, 60s style folk music with like guitar and singing. And then I dug a little deeper to find more about Nova Scotian folk music, which is a lot of a cappella stuff, which is really interesting. That comes from the, English and Irish traditions. And then from there, I got really into country music because, there's a lot of country music that comes from this region as well. I was always kind of interested in like things that came from Nova Scotia, I guess. Just it felt like home, I guess. And like Hank Snow was a big influence. He's from Nova Scotia, and then of course, like I was exposed to a lot of classic rock when I was a kid, and my dad was really into all kinds of different stuff, from like ska to punk and all sorts of different things. So it's a really wide range of influence, I guess.
That's incredible, and I gotta say, it's really cool to hear that all these influences in you, especially like the classic rock, a little Elvis, a little Roy Orbison, a little Brian Wilson.
Oh yeah, big time. I love that stuff.
Yeah, you could definitely tell when we will talk about your song, your album, and also your song, because there are some songs that I really thought, oh my God, this is to some similar styles of like some of my favorite classic artists, like the Beach Boys and Randy Newman, especially some other tracks with that. So cool. Before we get into the album, let's talk about some of the challenges that you've faced breaking into the international music market, and how did you overcome those obstacles?
I don't know. I think it's like, it's not, it's an interesting thing these days, because it is so easy to get out there on a basic level, but at the same time, it's hard to make, I don't know. Like it's hard to blow up, you can't just decide to do that one day and do it, really. I mean, it's a lot of work. It's a slow process, but I mean, I've been lucky over the years. Like, I mean, when I started playing music. I guess it was about 10 years ago, and that's kind of when YouTube started getting really popular and stuff, and through that I was able to make some nice international kind of connections, but without sort of system to keep releases coming and sort of a foundation to really like be doing more and touring more. It's sort of like it just happens, and people see it, whatever, but it's hard. I find the hard part is maintaining it and stuff, but I think lately, like with this album, the response so far has been good, and it's been feeling really good, and getting on more playlists really helps and stuff. But yeah, as far as obstacles, I think it's just you just gotta kind of maintain things. You know what I mean?
I totally know what you mean. A lot of people see like, oh my god, 1 million hits on a song, and it's happened over 48 hours, and I'm like, that doesn't work anymore. You have that 48 million must have come from like years and years. It's like the old ice. It's like the iceberg.
Yeah. It's like it all gets built up over time, I guess.
Absolutely. So I really enjoy Drugstore and Dreaming. It's a really good album. So I would love to if you could describe the recording process from conception to release to my audience.
Yeah. This one was fun. In the past, I'd always made albums in like one go, and usually like try to get it in like a week or two or something, like really fast, and then just have it done and then put it out. But with this, we started recording, I think it was June last year. And that's when we put out the first single. So at the start, we weren't even really talking about an album. It was just to get a single together. And that was Way She Holds Me. And then, so that was the first song I did with the producer, Carlton Stone. And then we sort of started working together more, and that went well. And then just did the next single, which was Need Your Love. And then started recording some other stuff. Then started talking about doing an album. And it basically was recorded between a period of almost a year, with like some of the songs being recorded like last minute right before the release kind of thing. So it was like a pretty wide range. And I mean, at the start when we recorded that first single, we didn't even have some of the songs fully written yet or written at all. So all of the songs had a very different process, which I really like, but they all, I think, fit together nicely as well, which is something important to me. I want the album to flow nice and sound like one thing together, but to have every song kind of be its own thing, is important to me.
And I gotta say, I admire that, because the thing is, like, last minute getting songs like that, it's incredible. And you thought that those songs were worthy of being added to the album. That's really done.
Yeah, and it's just sometimes you have a little idea that's like, oh, this would be great. Like, like the song "Chasing Rabbits," I think that was like the second last song we did in order of recording them, and I had that like a verse of it that I brought to Carlton. I was like, I don't know what to do with this, but I think it'd be good on the album. And it was like, yep, let's do it. Just wrote it together, and that was it.
I would love to talk to more about the weaving process, because I know that you said that you want to, like, how did you determine that weaving process, like the trackless determination? Because I always like to hear about that.
Like how we decide the order?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know. Me and Carlton both kind of had, like I was sort of thinking on it and sort of had to put it together the way I thought it would flow nicely. And then I was like, what do you think about this? And he was like, oh, I pretty much have the same thing. So like, in a way, it really kind of just like, there was something about it was kind of obvious seeming. Like, I don't know, when we recorded Chasing Rabbits, it just felt like it should be the last song. And something about Way She Holds Me seemed like it would be a good first song. It's hard to describe. It's just, I find with those kind of decisions, you just got to go with your gut and not question why too much. Just where does it feel like it needs to go? And that's probably where it needs to go,
Awesome. So let's talk about some of your songs because I took some of your songs that are the most popular versions on Spotify, and I arranged from your old stuff to Drugstore Dream. So let's talk about the title track. It has over 1,000 Spotify streams as of this recording, and when I first heard it, I felt like it's Beach Boys meets Randy Newman.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, I was definitely inspired by like the Beach Boys and like some of the Kinks songs I was kind of listening to around that time. And then I like the Randy Newman comparison because he does a lot of that sort of writing of almost like jazz melodies, but I wanted to write about like sort of a mundane task. Like, I don't know. It's like I find simple pleasure in just going to the drugstore and doing errands. You know what I mean? It's just sort of, I wanted to capture that in a song because a lot of my songs are sort of about, if you listen to my older stuff, especially, a lot of it's heartbreak or like, wanting to, sort of party-ish songs or like other kinds of things like that. And I wanted one that's just kind of not about that stuff, just about, I don't know. Maybe it's slightly more philosophical in a weird way.
I know you mentioned a song earlier, but Need Your Love.
Yeah.
Has over 2.7, as of this recording, 2.7 thousand streams on Spotify.
Sweet.
So
yeah, that one was pretty fun to do. For that one, I wanted to do just like a good rock and roll song. I found that I love so much early rock and roll, like Elvis and stuff, and Buddy Holly and Richie Valens, all that great stuff. I wanted to write my own song that kind of fit into that sort of. There's a simplicity to sort of just having a song that is kind of about cars and girls or motorcycles and girls and just having a good time and living, wanting to do what you want to do, I guess.
Awesome. Let's talk about Caroline.
Yeah, Caroline, that song I wrote a while ago. It was kind of I had the melody for a long time, but I didn't know what to do with it. And then one day I was kind of reading about this historical event called the Caroline Affair, which was like a weird kind of political situation that happened in the Niagara River in the 1860s, I think. And basically, it was like this guy, William Lyon Mackenzie, decided to start his own country called the Republic of Canada, and just like set up on this like very small island in the Niagara River with like a few of his friends. And then there was this steamboat called Caroline that the U.S. was supplying them with. It was a really strange story. But anyway, the authorities later seized this steamship and sent it down the Niagara Falls, which is pretty dramatic. But I don't know, something about the story just struck me because it's about, there's so much defeat in it, and it seems like such a crazy, weird thing, and it was. But he ended up just sort of going back into politics after and served a long time as like a MP. And, it's just like, it was a weird story that I thought kind of matched the sort of slightly melancholy melody. And, I think wrapping your head around admitting defeat is a intense feeling, and I kind of wanted to write that in a song. Even if I didn't hit you over the head with the story, like I didn't really want it to be like something like the Battle of New Orleans, which is a great song, but it's like it tells you exactly what's happening and it uses dates, you know what I mean? I didn't want that kind of historical ballad. I wanted it to just sound like it could be a song about a person or anything so that people can kind of, interpret it however they need to. But yeah, that was the root of that song.
Now, I did not hear about that story before, so this was the first time I'm learning about all this.
It's a crazy story.
And the Caroline thing and Niagara, going down Niagara Falls. Oh my God, that's just awful.
Yeah. If you look it up, there was a bunch of like lithograph prints made about it. for newspapers and stuff. So if you Google it, you can see some prints showing the flaming ship going down the falls. It's like pretty intense.
Yeah, that is intense, and like, but it's also tense admitting defeat. It's hard for anyone to do it.
Yeah, it's kind of
Yeah, it's definitely definitely tough theme. So let's move on to The Way She Holds Me.
That song. That's kind of a relationship based song, I guess. I sort of wanted to write it about just some things, I guess, that were going on in my life at the time, and relationship stuff, and sort of, I guess, capturing the feeling of a relationship that probably shouldn't be going on so long, but you both just kind of you both know that, but you both maybe don't have the willpower to not do it or whatever. And just also wanting, aside from the personal stuff, kind of just wanting to capture a sort of darker imagery with that kind of gloomy Americana kind of motel neon lights sort of aesthetic that I really feel inspired by, I guess. So it's a mix of different stories from my life and relationships, and also just like imagery that I like to kind of make. Like sometimes I find with songs like that, I almost want to make a little movie, and almost in my mind, and then that's kind of where I get the vibe for the song.
So more like a storytelling version of a music video, like a lengthier music video.
Yeah, kind of, or just like to use imagery as well as personal stories to set a mood. I find there's more imagery in that than like in Caroline. There's not a ton of setting, you know what I mean? Which I wanted for that song. I wanted to keep it kind of vague, but in Way She Holds Me, I kind of used some more descriptors of sort of the surroundings and atmosphere to give it this sort of different feel, I guess.
I totally get it. Let's talk about True North. As of this recording, 26,000 Spotify streams.
Oh yeah, that's an old one. Yeah, I mean, I wrote that a long time ago. It was one of the first songs I wrote, I guess, and that one just kind of, I think, sort of a simple song about growing up and kind of trying to figure out what you want to do in life, and maybe shaking off the past a bit, and then also figuring out what you want in relationships at the same time. It's kind of a mix of different emotions and stuff, I guess.
Like, it's a coming of age song, it's where there's been lots of incredible coming of age songs in this music history.
Yeah, that's right. I guess it is. Yeah.
All right, last song I'm going to talk to you about is November. It's your most streamed song on Spotify as of this recording, 68,000.
Sweet. Yeah, it's also that's from a similar time period. That one's kind of just about frustration. I find that one's kind of like almost more like a stream of consciousness sort of approach to just sort of try to put like sort of frustrated feelings to words, I guess, just in I think part of it is almost like a teen angst kind of feeling. I mean, I was 18 when I wrote it, but yeah, kind of just about similar things to True North, but maybe in a more of a visceral kind of release, sort of getting rid of some frustration, I guess.
It is definitely tough getting rid of frustration, especially with those angsty years, especially 18. You're just out of high school, about ready for your freshman year in college, if you're lucky, away from your home, away from your family, away from your close-knit friends, starting something new. I think everyone's on edge with that.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so anyway, who are your dream collaborators, the singers, the songwriters, the producers, or the musicians that you hope to work with that one day and are on your dream collaborators list?
I don't know. I think like I mean I'm pretty happy with what I'm doing now, but there's definitely a few, you know. I mean, there's always people I will always look up to, especially like I don't know, certain Canadian country artists like Shania Twain. I mean, that would be sweet. But, you know, I don't know. It'd be cool to have a record produced by Jack White someday, I guess. Who knows?
Those are those are really cool names, and like Shania, I was so happy when she released that album in 2018.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a nice return.
It was, and like her voice was back to the classic 90s, 2000s for era.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. So let's talk about social media.
Hmm.
Now, what are your now? Do you have a specific platform that you like Facebook or YouTube or Instagram or Twitter?
Instagram is my most used for sure. So if you go to at Willie Stratton, that's where you can find my most recent updates, I guess.
Awesome. And then, so the second to last question I always ask my guests is, if you had a chance to meet with up and coming performers who want to take their career in an entertainment industry or in the recording industry for the next level, what advice would you share?
Advice for up and coming performers?
Mm-hmm.
I think you just gotta play like crazy. Like, I don't know. There's definitely points in your career where it makes sense to not play a lot. But I think when you're starting out, one thing that helped me a lot was taking every gig that came across. And while them didn't pay well, but you know, you learn something from all of them, you know. And I mean, it's different for different types of music and stuff. And there's a lot of types of music these days that don't really make sense in a live context at all. Um, and I guess there's always been music like that. But if you're doing like sort of rootsy stuff that has a live feel, really cutting your teeth and like playing as many gigs as you can really does make a difference, because as soon as you start to get bored, it's up to you to make yourself not bored, and then that's how you get better. So I find that's the ticket. Just play your ass off.
All righty, that's really good advice. All right,
Yeah.
so final question. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Where can my audience find your music and also connect with you on social media?
The best place to find my music is on streaming services like Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, whatever you use. And yeah, the best way to hit me up is on Instagram.
Wonderful, wonderful. Now, guys, if you missed an episode of the Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar Podcast, visit our channels on Apple Podcasts, Deezer, Google Podcasts, Podcast Addict, Spotify, and Spreaker. Just type in Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar, JACOBELYACHAR. Once again, JACOBELYACHAR. Now, are you on social media? Because I'm on social media too. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube, Jacob Elyachar, JACOBELYACHAR. Willie just let you know that starting in August 2022, jakestake.com, my original blog, is celebrating 11 years.
Amazing. That's great. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. And you guys want to hear some of Mike's thoughts on Willie's music and more artists, visit jakes-shake.com. Once again, jakes-shake.com. Now, if you're financially able to, please consider heading to PayPal. Help keep jakes-shake.com and my platform up and running. I am a one-man band, and I have been doing this for over 11 years, so I need all the help that I can get. If you're financially able to, thank you so much in advance. And if not, I totally understand. But a good, strong alternative is to follow me on social media, and please download the podcast and also like me on YouTube. Willie, thank you so much for taking time in your schedule to talk with me today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thanks so much for having me on. This was fun.
You're so welcome. And until next time, guys, thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for listening. Have a great one, and I will see you next time. Goodbye, everybody.